You say a word of prayer?
Sure.
I'll call it the word.
Let's pray. God, we thank you for everything that you do for us. Thank you for allowing us to live in Jackson County, in Florida. Thank you for everything that we ask, God. Thank you for our known blessings. We thank you for our unknown blessings. We ask that you lead, guide, and direct us on every decision that's made here today. In Christ's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I'm a motion to accept the agenda. Motion to accept the agenda. Everyone? Yep.
Motion to accept the agenda. We have any additions or changes to the?
No.
Offer a motion to approve it.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor? That's it. All right. Proceed.
Mr. Chairman, there's Mr. Spires.
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
I've shortchanged it over. My apologies.
Okay, I'll do right do it. Good, great.
I'm gonna go ahead and get it started when you're ready. There's really only three things that we're asking the commission to take action on today. Of course, this is a budget workshop. Budget is based on using the current millage rate of 7.945. And as a result of property value increases, the amount of ad valorem taxes collected will increase. Therefore, the county will be required to advertise the millage rate as a tax increase, even though we're not changing the millage rate. It's because we're receiving additional revenue. The budget is balanced, using carryover funds in the amount of $1.2 million. At the last meeting, we said that number was going to be 1.4, but based on some of the revenues that have come in and been verified by the state and some modification to some of the budgets, we're now at 1.2 in carryover. So it's getting better. It's not getting worse.
Praise the Lord.
The first item, as Mr. Donifro brought up at the last meeting, is provide me direction on the health reimbursement account, credit cards for staff. The HRA cards, health reimbursement cards, account cards have been included in the budget as presented to the commission. The total cost of the HRA cards is budgeted at approximately $400,000. The average card balance provided to staff is approximately $1,200 to $1,500, depending on if it's a husband and wife, depending on if both husband and wife work for the county. So it varies depending on what the situation is, but an approximate, it's about $1,200 to $1,500 per person. To reduce the need to rely on carryover funds to balance the budget, the commission could reduce the budget amount needed by reducing the HRA credit cards to 1,000 or whatever the commission wants to do. I'm just providing information. So I'll let the chairman take it from there.
So question pertaining to the reimbursement credit cards. If we were to reduce the credit from $1,500 per card to 1,000, would that reduce a pro rata share of that cost by roughly, 2/3 or 1/3, roughly?
Roughly.
Yeah. So in other words, that $400,000 cost would go to 280,000, whatever that would be.
Roughly, yes, sir.
Yeah, something like that.
And if that would be the direction of the board, we would ask a little bit of discretion because of the way that the cards are set up, as far as two husband and wife both working for the county, and depending on if they have purchased the family care plan in conjunction with their health insurance. So a little bit of discretion we would ask in setting those up.
And again, my clarification, the way that this works is each employee is given basically a credit card that they can use up to $1,500 currently to offset any additional cost of healthcare services, basically. In other words,
So the employee is given a card. It is single coverage, it is $1,250. For family coverage, it's $1,750 total for the whole family. And if you have couples, which is couples working within the county, there's $2,500 on that card.
Okay.
So we budget an average of $1,500 per person. It is billed to actuals. So some people never use that card. And some people use everything on that card. So you have a budgeted amount and then you have an actual amount, which is what we're actually billed for.
and whatever's not used goes into the carryover and
Correct,
go
correct.
towards, you know,
Yes.
just like we do in this year, using some of that carryover to address the budget deficit. Yeah. What's the average?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's the, out of the, this year we're looking at 400,000 budgeting based on what we know. How much of those dollars are typically used?
That was gonna be my question.
I think, probably around 300,000, I think is
About
what
75%.
Montreal said, if I remember correctly from our last meeting. It's around 300,000. Anything that's not used is.
Go ahead, Mr. Brown.
What is the health insurance premium going up this year?
Yes, sir.
How much are they gonna do?
So it's around $110 per employee, per plan, or per employee. Of course, the board pays the employee plan, and then anything after that is absorbed by the employee. So it'll go up around $60 per month for the family plan, for those employees with family plan.
$60 a month for family plan, $100 for.
It's around $110, $110. It used to be $11.15, and it's a little over $12.20 now.
But that's per year?
It's per month,
Or
per
month?
employee per month.
And generally, do you have some at the end of the year? Or the next question I would have, and I'll get you, Mr. Clerk, thank you. Generally, do you have a lot turned back, as Ms. Donald mentioned?
So on your health insurance is one of those variables. We don't budget for every single position we have, because you have positions like road and bridge, corrections, fire rescue that have such a high turnover rate. So some people never even make the waiting period, or so you have that, but there is generally some leftover in health insurance generally.
And just a general question for all of y'all. Do we have the liberty to add that back to them if we gain ad valorem or gain more to our budget as the year goes
You mean,
on?
If we reduce it, can we add
Yes,
back to
sir,
it?
that's what I'm saying.
I think it could be done, but for the sake of presenting a budget in September, it would be difficult to do it.
Right.
Okay,
I'm not sure what the logistics will look like after.
okay, that's clear. Go ahead.
Well, and Sarah can probably speak to this better. When we went to the HRA cards, we went to a high deductible insurance plan. So the county went to a high deductible insurance plan to keep the costs down. And then, because they save money, they offered the HRA cards. So in other words, if they'd went with the same plan we had, it would have cost us more than the $400,000 for the HRA cards. So they went with the high deductible plan. And this is just information for you guys, so you'll know how the card came into play. So I think the deductible is $3,000. Somebody that knows better than me, for a family,
3,200.
3,200. So out of pocket, if somebody has the HRA card, they would get $1,700. So their out of pocket still would be $1,500 if they reach that. Now, like Sarah said, somebody doesn't, and I asked Tony, it's been running around $300,000 where people use the cards. So we budget as if they're gonna use it all, and they don't. So we've been having a carryover of $100,000 approximately. Sometimes a little more, sometimes it's a little less. But just to let y'all know why we went to the HRA cards, it was to offset that cost that the employees would have had to pay, because I think the deductible was 1,000.
It used to be, yeah.
It went from 1,000 to 3,200. So the county said, well, what we'll do is we'll step up and have these HRA cards. And they also got the dial, telemedicine program. There was a little cost to that, but the thinking was you went with that, and it would keep people from going to their physician for a sinus infection or, something.
Is it deductible?
Okay, I just have a question out of curiosity. What are some of the reasons you think that people don't use that amount that's been allocated?
I think they're healthy.
Okay.
And part of the problem, and it's not a problem, we have people that have been here a long time. So that's kind of the issue with our health insurance. And again, Sarah can speak more to that, and probably Lindsay. But we've got 3 or 4 employees that accounted for like 70% of our cost. And they were sick. I mean, but we have some older employees that let's face it, that's what happens. People get old and they get sick. I'm getting old. I don't think-
Do we still? I was gonna ask, do we get some kind of reimbursement from Florida Blue or whomever if our claims are lower than anticipated?
Well, and again, Sarah can probably speak.
We do get a pro share is what they call it.
Mhm.
So how it was written previously is that every other year, if your claims were this and your premium was this, they would offset the difference every other year on average.
Correct.
It was rewritten this year that every year you get a refund. It, depending on your claims and your premiums and that type of stuff. So where it used to be every other year, there was a possibility to get a refund. Now, every year, there's a possibility to get a refund.
Thank you.
You finished, Dr. Smiley?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Is our deductible still high in the current health coverage plan, or is it
So we changed plans to keep the same deductibles.
keep it from going up again?
Correct.
So for an employee, if I have just myself, insured, the deductible is
$1,600.
$1,600.
Commissioner Brown.
The insurances went up. I've talked to several employees. And I've talked to several. One says they don't use the card very much. The rest of them say they do. And that helps them with the deductible. It also helps them not, they run to the clinic out here or
Right.
wherever, the mini clinic or whatever they call it.
And that's a good point, Mr. Branch, and Sarah and I have had these conversations, is we need to better educate our staff. Instead of taking that, emergency room route, go to the walk-in clinic or, what is it called, quick care out,
Yeah.
on the east of town, because, the difference between going there and going to the emergency room is significantly different. And if we can better educate our staff to use that, rather than going to the emergency room, I think you're going to see your premium to claim, your claims go down and your premium hopefully would go down.
I just hate to see the premiums go up and then we take something away from them that they use for the most part. Some like doesn't use it. But,
To me, it's one more incentive in the package that we can offer employees. And, we've all discussed it today. Turnover rate amongst employees and anything we can do to help incentivize keeping them here. And, it's just one more tool in the tool bag.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Anybody else? Go ahead.
If they use all the money that's on the card, then if they had to go in the hospital, they got $3,200 deductible.
So if they've used all the money on everything, they have used it up to that point, counts towards their deductible. So they have that gap of 1,750 to 3,200, whatever that gap is from the card to the deductible.
That'd be the,
Correct,
Everything on the card goes against the deductible, right?
correct.
That's what I was told.
Sarah, can you use the card to go and buy medications? Whether
Yes.
it's prescription or non-prescription,
It is, you can buy it for, you can use it for prescription medications.
or non-prescription.
Yes, but you can't, you can't just go and buy, it's very specific in its uses. It
You can't go and buy a six-pack of beer with it.
Correct. Anything other than medical is.
But someone could conceivably purchase Advil over the counter on using that card.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But you can use it to buy, like, if you've got a burn, you go buy, some type of camphophenique to put on it, medical, stuff like over-the-counter stuff.
My daddy didn't raise them. He said, you'll get better.
I know we need to save money everywhere we can, but I just hate to take it out
Well,
and blow it in
I
the
agree
pocket,
with
since they're used to it. I don't know how long that's been going on.
It's been ever since I've been here.
Yeah, at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Or,
I never had the insurance, I don't need.
I don't like to see this.
is this attended to, Blue Cross Blue Shield? And that Blue Shield,
Your Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
I've got a letter yesterday or the day before. And I have, I retained my insurance from the legislature and it's none any better, but anyway, I've got 5 big old scars on me and I never had to pay 50 cents for any of it. But now, the letters from the doctor is saying Blue Cross Blue Shield is not going to honor Dr. Gay, Joey Gay. So it's up to a question there of everything getting worse, not only with the smaller parts, but the larger parts as well. So, something to think about.
So, is it a consensus of the board to, leave it in the budget like it is?
I'll raise my
It is
hand. I'm in
good.
favor of that.
I would like to see it stay in.
Okay,
Well, I guess you part of it.
Mhm.
Well, it's unanimous.
and I, Mr. Rooks, I don't know that there's a need to take action on this. It's just
in the budget, so you make the note that it's.
Okay. The next item, Mr. Westbrook, is, addressing the $1,650 salary increases. Over the past several years, the commission has provided a $1,650 pay increase as part of the budget. And we have budgeted that this year. To reduce the need to rely on carryover funds, the cost of the $1,650 raise for all staff is approximately $415,000. Now, that does not include your sworn officers at the jail and the sworn officers at the sheriff's department. So that $415,000 increase is just for the staff that is not sworn officers at the jail or the sheriff's office, okay? So the commission could consider $1,650 raise for all staff except for sworn officers at the jail, the sheriff's office, and staff that received $2 an hour increase in May of 2025, which would reduce the cost of that $415,000 by $90,000 to $100,000 approximately. So if the option that you could elect to take would be to not provide the $1,650, which is about 50 cents an hour, to staff that received the $2 an hour increase in May, the sworn officers at the jail, and the sworn officers in the sheriff's department. And that would save you approximately $90,000 to $100,000.
May I add something to that?
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to clarify the sworn officers at the correctional facility and the sworn officers for the police are getting that 1650 raise from the FDLE grant already. So that's why they're not included
Right.
in this, because they're already getting that raise.
Thank you, Lindsay, that's a good point.
Plus what they appropriated for.
Yes, sir.
The governor had that in his budget, didn't
Mhm.
it? Governor had a lot of
if-
power.
If we maintain the same, pay raise that we've done the last couple of years, we're talking about giving them a 1650. That would mean that those, employees in the sheriff's office and the jail would be receiving basically a $2.50.
No, sir, that we, in this $415,000 budget,
Right.
it does not include the jail sworn officers or the sheriff's department sworn. That's just for staff outside of sworn officers.
Oh, I know, and I think the $2 raise was mainly for the road department. I know there probably a few others that would did.
Yes, sir.
If we just take them out of the $1,600 and, we do the other $1,600, we actually did a $2 raise to try to get them up a little bit, cause they're probably pretty low, probably.
Yes, sir.
If we take that $1,600 away, that's gonna maybe not drop them down, but it's gonna drop them back down to what, the average people in the county making. If we could give them the 1,600 as well as with the others, that would keep their salary up, and I believe it would get more chances of getting people to come in and work for the road department. That's my thoughts on it.
So what you're saying is we had given basically a $2 per hour raise to road and bridge employees previously.
And
And
then,
this is gonna give them a 50 cent per hour raise, a 1650
On top
roughly.
of that.
So, if we keep that in place, then those road and bridge employees will be getting basically prior to that $2 raise at $2.50.
that will get them on up to, wouldn't be able to competitive to like DOT and stuff like that, but be getting them closer. If you don't, then you actually kind of like taking some away from them. But we actually did the $2 raise to try to get them up some, and then we're actually taking away 1,600. If we take that away.
Also would ask, if the commission, are we adjusting the bottom of the pay range whenever, like we did the $2? And if we do this, we'll adjust the bottom of the pay range up by that amount?
Is that included in the $415,000 cost?
Yes, sir. It just, like the bottom of the pay range, whenever y'all made that decision to give them the $2 increase, instead of starting at $13 an hour, that's the bottom of the pay range. Now the bottom of the pay range is $15. So if we hire somebody else, somebody leaves and we replace them with somebody in that position, they're gonna start at 15 rather than 13.
Position, not person.
Yeah.
We had didn't we have one that we had to move up anyway on some of that?
Yes, sir, probably. That's
Cause it's minimal.
yeah, that's a good point, I think we said there's 5 people that we're gonna have to increase to $14 an hour because the constitutional amendment, several years ago required that we be at $15 by October of 2026.
And that's included in this budget.
Yes,
What's in the budget now as far as this? What is included in the budget now?
we're budgeting $415,000 for $1,650 pay increase for everybody except for sworn officers at the jail and sworn officers at the sheriff's department, because they got their raise from the state of Florida.
But as Nancy brought out, they're getting that 1650 into that.
From that raise from the state of Florida, yes, sir.
Okay.
So they're still getting it, it's just grant funded eventually.
Dr. Spire?
Was this the first occasion wherein the state adjusted the sworn officer salary, or has it been happening in the past?
It's happened in the past as well,
The raises,
from the FDLE, yes,
I
sir.
think it's been about 3 years,
Oh,
I
really?
believe so.
3 or 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Floor's up, go ahead and talk. Anybody?
I make a motion to, go on with the 1,650. And it includes the $2 raise they got, every employee gets 1,650.
If we do that, that is included already in the
Yes,
budget.
sir, it's already in the budget.
That's good. That would be like what, already there. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Crutchfield's motion. All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous, thank you. Move on.
The, next to the last item I have, Mr. Westbrook, is that we're asking the commission to go ahead and, tell us, that you would like to set the proposed tentative millage rate at 7.945, which is the same rate that we have right now.
And then we still have to advertise it, like you said.
Yes, sir. And if we do that, then we will not meet again, on the budget until September the 9th, which is when we have our first public hearing on the budget.
Okay.
What's your board's pleasure? Go ahead, Dr. Cox.
How much more revenue does that generate, leaving it as is?
I believe it's 700 and something thousand dollars, Mr. Fires.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Based on increased property values.
on last year's 18, levy taxes, $764,229.
Thank you.
Is that right, Mr. Rook?
That's correct. And something else, you can't go up from that. We always try to tell y'all, we make sure everybody knows, that you can only go down. So if y'all come back September 9th and Mr. Dean finds us $7 million more, y'all can vote for it to go down. But if we, if he comes in and says, hey, we need money to do whatever, we don't have to go up, we can't go up. So,
I'm looking forward to that, Mr. Dean, and I appreciate it. You can go ahead and
Feel pretty confident in the numbers, carryover numbers at this point in time and
Yes.
and the budgetary numbers.
Yes.
Now, this budget still does not include any capital improvement.
And that's that will be my last
I
item.
think that will.
Are there any capital improvement items? I know there, in some cases it's a wish list, but also in some cases there are some capital improvement items that are gonna have to be addressed.
Has to be.
And we have, Mr. Donafro, and I'm not sure if you're alluding to this, but we have in the budget, to, lease or purchase the 5 motor graders that are gonna come off lease in, February of 26. And then, we also have in the budget to address the 15 vehicles that we have leased right now to either purchase or lease again.
So that's built into this.
That's built into the budget. There's gonna be a discussion on the call them special projects, I call them capital outlay type stuff. And, while you're thinking about that, remember, we're gonna have the special projects and capital projects meeting. It is in the plan, it is the plan for staff to have a special meeting near the end of September to discuss special projects list to identify capital purchases for 25 and 26. Remember, we said when we get close to the end of the year, we'll know how much carryover money we got that we can spend on capital. And we would do that near the end of September. And, that's in your special projects tab. So start looking at that and, we'll identify those at the last of September.
But there again, this year's budget, the budget that we're looking at right now, other than the 5 graders and the 15 vehicles, none of those capital improvement items are being funded in this budget. And we're already using $1.2 million of carryover dollars.
Make sure I understand what you're saying. In this budget that we have, we're adding the 5 motor graders, which, it's not a part of special project. And the 15 vehicles that we have on there.
And we're doing that within this budget, but this budget's also based on using $1.2 million
Yes.
of carryover dollars.
Yes, sir, it is.
And anything above the 5 graders and the 15 vehicles in the way of capital improvements is gonna have to come out of carryover dollars that we aren't sure that we even have.
We feel pretty confident we're gonna have some, and Mr. Rooks can comment on that.
Well, Mr. Dean has been very nice into not putting the gun against our head saying how much money we're gonna have. It's hard to tell now, and Tony can allude to this probably a little bit more, but basically, we're trying to judge how many bills are coming in. We can kind of guesstimate the revenue real close. It's the bills that we don't know. As a matter of fact, I think Lindsay sent out, and we appreciate that, Lindsay, too, email out saying, hey, look, you can buy regular supplies, but please don't buy anything else starting September 1st, so we can get a handle on it by the end of September, saying, okay, this is how much money we're gonna have carry over. And we can tell that a lot better as we get closer and closer to the end of the year of how much money we're gonna have left. It's kind of like at the end of the month, when your check's running out, you know how much, you're gonna have your expenditures. We're trying to judge that, and we got everybody, jail, everybody else is buying things.
We call that cash flow.
Cash flow. There you
Supervisor election had mentioned something about one thing, I don't forgot the exact amount that she was needing
Yeah.
and would like to have the SACA, but I guess could do without it. The SACA will cost more money. But I don't forgot if it's 9,000 or something.
I think Lindsay has incorporated that into her budget.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, but both projects are
And
included.
another thing, I know like with the motor graders, if it's about the same to buy them, and if we can buy them, and make payments like we're leasing, I think it's better to own them, and then you got something to sell at the end of the thing, some kind of deal like that instead of, we don't have nothing, you go back to.
Off the, on the surface, I would tend to agree with that, and we're looking into that real hot and heavy right now. We've got a matter of fact, we've got a meeting scheduled, hopefully next week with the bank to get some concepts from them on
Yeah.
what the rate.
Well, that's what I'm fixing to say, if they wouldn't finance them like a lease, then we could borrow the money and pay them like a lease, it'd be the same thing. At the end of that lease, it'd be paid up and we got the graders to resell it.
Well, as long as we do a good job of making sure we got a decent grader to be able to resell by not, running it in the dirt.
You got to have somebody work on them and fix them.
Right.
Yeah.
And incorporate in that purchase a good,
They should have
maintenance
one,
plan.
up something, I don't know how long.
I don't, I'm questioning that. Go ahead, Dr.
Just
Sire.
for enlightenment purposes. It was mentioned about 15 vehicles, that organization wide, are these vehicles rented? Okay, so that includes the sheriff's office and everybody else?
No, not the sheriff's office. It's just the, minus the constitutional officers, it's the, Board of County Commissioners vehicles.
In all fairness, that sheriff, he was just the other day telling me about a county down the state that looked like was gonna give us 3 vehicles with about 80 or 100,000 miles on them, which is not bad. So some of that works out for us in a better way. Anybody else?
So, Mr. Rooks,
Floor is wide open.
would they need to vote on this to establish what the tentative millage rate?
Yes, we do need to vote on that so that we can, I think there's some paperwork we've got to fill out tentative.
Based on everything I'm hearing, I'm comfortable, as Mr. Rooks pointed out, once we adopt this, or once we set this tentative rate, we can't go up, but based on everything I'm hearing, I feel comfortable, so I'll offer a motion that we go ahead and set the proposed tentative millage rate at 7.945, which is the same as the current millage rate, and even though it has to be advertised as a tax increase, we just try to educate our constituents that it's really not an increased millage rate.
Have a motion, second. Dr. Spires, you want to speak?
Yeah, just want to ask the question, I hate to keep digressing, but are we settled, that's FEMA settled since, Michael, everything that we anticipated coming in from them?
For FEMA?
Mhm.
That's a sore play, isn't it?
It is a sore subject, boy.
That's right, I just didn't know.
I talked to Miss Guthrie the other day. I said, first, somebody tried to burn the courthouse down. I said, then we had COVID, and then we had the hurricane. I might want to give that clerkship back to her, but, in dealing with FEMA and Mr. Allen may be able, or Sarah or Lindsay, I know we've got some questions on some monies. There's some monies that we're gonna have to send back because that project is over and done with, but we've got that money set aside. So it's not something that we've got to come up with but they're still working through, and we may get some more money from them. But I don't know that did we budget any money coming in from FEMA? Did we? Because we've expended some money that they're trying to get back for us, is what I'm saying. So if we get something back from FEMA, it's gonna be a bonus. It'll be to our advantage.
Right now, we're not expecting a major.
I don't think there'll be any major monies. I don't, they may be able to say that there is, but I do not think.
There's several, outstanding claims, numbers out there, but, we haven't projected, or at least Lindsay hadn't, I don't think, and we're working through those, but who knows how long that's going to take.
I think FEMA's wanting some money back from every county they gave some to.
Possibility.
I know they want it, I think FEMA's wanting money back from every county they gave some to. I know
Yeah.
Lake County's looking at
Yeah, they're-
$30 million. Washington County's looking at it.
I think ours, and Tony, you correct me, I know you've been looking at those numbers. I think it's about 2.3 million. Is that what we came up with on the last time? We gotta send back, and we've got that money set aside. So it is not gonna come out of our budget. We got cash money to give them back. Okay.
If we have.
If we have to, yeah.
I just remind everybody that, as far as FEMA goes, we ended up, in my opinion, on the short end of the stick as far as, what we were able to get from FEMA in relation to the damages that, Jackson County, received from Hurricane Michael, especially when you look at what Washington County was able to get with much less of a hit.
There's rumors out there that we've missed several $1 million in Jackson County.
Well, in defense of everyone, we went to Tallahassee. I know I went with them 2 or 3 times. And every time you went, it was a different group that you were meeting in. You never talked to at least I didn't. We never talked to the same people. And, they said, oh, well, and you had to start all over again. And so we may have missed out on some money. I'm not saying we didn't. I think we definitely, as Commissioner Donifro and Mr. Dean alluded to, I think we did get shortchanged on some projects. But the people with the goal get to make the rules.
And we appealed that decision and actually went to Washington, and sat through and I watched a good portion of it. And, it was, I choose my words carefully. It was startling to me, I guess is a good way of putting it, watching the judges that participated in that. Very startling.
Yeah, they weren't from Mariana
No, they weren't.
or Sneed or anything like that. Go ahead.
Well, it has nothing to do with FEMA. The property increase, the property values increase. Where's that coming from? Does that come from the state?
Well, I had a discussion earlier today, with the, wanted to ask the clerk, to the supervisors, that we have, could they come and meet with us and question them some? I don't know if that's proper or not. I'm assuming it is. I see her budget right here on here. So I would think that would be a wise decision to make, even though, we get into a situation of feelings sometime, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings any more than we can help. Sometimes we do it anyway, but not intended. But I would think that would, you think about it, we have commercial buildings here all the time, and there's one right there at Chick-fil-A. It's not calling names, and I apologize for doing that, but what we got them assessed is about 10% of what that place is worth. And then we have all the solar fields that they turned in, and y'all probably got a letter just like I did. They turned in a lot of them with $250,000, and then I think, in all fairness to Ms. Hayes, it came back and showed where a professional was just about double that. So I guess there's a lot there that meets the eye. Now, as you well know, with a homestead, you only have 5% that you can increase in a year's time. But, I didn't have to call into my place whenever I built what little bit of stuff I had back. They, increased it without me calling them out there.
Well, people ask me all the time afterwards, they go, y'all raised the taxes, and I said, no, it's the same, millage rate, same thing it was last, well, my taxes went up, and I told them, I believe them, you know, but I just don't know what to tell them.
It's the property appraiser's responsibility to go out and value people's property.
That's correct.
And a lot of times they pick up when there's sales. I mean, there's sales every day at home sales. So if Commissioner Donifro were to sell his home, I'm sure it's gonna probably be more than what he bought it for, or any of you guys. And the property appraiser picks that up off the deeds and stuff that come in the clerk's office. They get a report. So they increase those values. Now, individuals like us that haven't sold and still have our home, she can only go up, I thought it was 3%, maybe it's
Well,
5%.
I stand corrected.
It's 3%, I think. They can only go up 3% a year. So your property value on your home is supposed to be, my understanding now, I'm gonna talk for Rebecca by any means, but it'll only go up 3% if you've got homestead on. Now, but, you know, property, you know, buildings, commercial property and stuff, it can go up higher. You know, if the building next to you sells, you know, and it sells for a lot more, your value probably is gonna go up. And that's how that works. That's how we can have the same rate, but the amount of tax we're gonna collect is more, is because the value goes up.
I just
Mine
didn't know
was built
where,
1898.
I didn't know where the value of it, if it started here or in Tallahassee.
It's,
I mean, I don't think there's a soul up here, if we had property that wouldn't want it to go up.
Right.
To sale. You know, and I mean, you can look around and things are just, they just, they went up over the
You
years.
can probably look on your property, and we'll be coming up pretty soon. You wouldn't sell your property for what they value.
Oh, no.
And I mean, and it's, they value it a lot less than what, you know, it's worth or whatever when you build it for. I know I sitting on a value adjustment board, just for example, somebody come in, and this has happened, and they argued a point that they're $90,000 what their property was evaluated at, that's their home and all. But they basically said that they paid $200,000 for it. Well, I mean, to me, $90,000 is pretty reasonable. So, and you pay $200,000, well, that probably would be the value of that property. You know, I mean, sometimes you may pay a little more than some other person may think it's not worth, but if it's worth that to you, that's what the value would be. And I know, I think they're pretty lenient on what they pay, and I think I heard her say, a lot of that is set by state. She don't just go out and value it.
They look at it, but.
She don't just go out to value something other and just, you know.
Well, bear in mind that Florida still comes under the Green Belt law as far as agricultural land, and our land is not used for something. But at the same time, they use that for an excuse sometimes as well, and I've seen that happen many times. But I've never argued mine. I took that and wrote the check and paid them for it, but.
But, you know, I think you know, like you say, when you talk about taxable value versus, you know, market value, you know, I'm glad that the property appraiser is more lenient on homestead.
Yeah.
But when it comes to commercial property where that business is making money, you know, I wish they would be a little bit more realistic about it. And to answer your question, I think, you know, we've had some new businesses open and some new developments occur, and that's bringing additional taxable taxes into the county as well.
Yeah.
That's part of where that additional dollars came from.
Well, I thought that's the way it was, but I just want to make sure.
I have land that I'm on the hill and where there was timber, I have ponds and things, they assess them all the same. And I've never gone over and touched one time, I paid. But we had a meeting couple of 3 years ago at the Farm Bureau office. And they were very listenable, I guess, for lack of a better word. But if you, in agriculture, and Ed can, and I'm sure Dr. Spires owns land too, almost all of us do. But if you come to a big sinkhole in the middle of the field, you got to obviously plow around that. And when you get that tractor to the end of the field, you have to have a place to turn it around. So sometimes they'll assess 40 acres, 80 acres, 100 acres, or whatever. And they don't take that into account. Well, there again, that's the green belt law. And if you go right across the line up there in Georgia, those guys up there they paying $40, $50, $60 an acre for ag land. I'm talking about for peanut, corn, cotton, whatever. So we're fortunate in a lot of ways in Florida to have the green belt law. And one day somebody's gonna come up and say, wait a minute, the green belt law was brought with that timber and the St. Joe Paper Company and all those, which was the largest landowner in the state of Florida for a long time. And Ed Ball argued that pretty good because he said to fight them politically every day of his life. But that's how that come about. But one day there's not going to be anybody else over that far the green belt. And when we do, we wish we didn't have any real estate. We want somebody else to have it. Anybody, anything?
I'm
Floor is wide open.
just kind of thinking out loud here more than anything else. The rule is that we cannot go up, we can always come down.
Yes.
On the side of,
I'm sorry, Mr. Spires.
I'm just thinking in terms of on the cautionary side, would it make sense for us to elevate that a little bit with the hope and the intention of bringing it back down to 7 point?
You know, that is up to the discretion of this board, but, you know, and this is an opinion, this is nothing but an opinion. But if you know, we feel very confident in this budget, and if you advertise it as 8% or 8.5%, we may be inundated with people.
I'd say.
Well, why are you doing that if you already have a budget and you may have 150 people lined up outside the door to speak at your first public hearing?
And it gets, and we faced that before, it gets difficult to try to educate them as to what you just said. We can, we're just being precautious with it. Our intent is to keep it the same, but, it does generate a lot of.
Yeah, and even keep it the same, we're gonna get a lot of complaints, they're gonna say, So either way, it's a no-win situation for us. But
Well,
I was just thinking in terms of trying to be cautious.
I would welcome an interview for all the board members when that come about, instead of just somebody writing it down in the newspaper or on a piece of paper. I would welcome that as far as an interview, and I think it should give every board member up here that wants a chance to speak to it. I think we should. That is I'm telling you, that right there is a yeoman's task of what y'all done, from what we were looking at to start with to where we are now.
Yes, sir, I agree with that, Mr. Wood.
And I commend you and the ladies and the clerk and anybody else that had anything to do with it. I certainly did not, but I commend the one that did. Go ahead.
I second that. It was it's a lot different than it was a month ago.
Yes, sir.
Damn, I'm huge. I split. But yeah. I'll entertain a motion anytime. I thought, well, hell,
got a motion and a second.
that's what I thought. I did the same, Paul. That's good.
To leave it the same?
Leave it the same, yes.
Yeah.
All in favor of leaving the millage rate the same, signify by saying their hand up there. All opposed, same sign.
I don't really see where we need to be able to come down to. I don't
No,
have
sir, I
it
agree
now,
with
but
you.
I think we need to hold it back where it's at.
Well, unless, like you said, there's some great fall from the sky.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're still right. All right, Does that conclude?
Yes, sir, that's all I have. Unless-
Now the floor is open, y'all wanna talk, go ahead, you don't even have to be recognized.
Yeah, look at what Phil comes up.
Anybody wants to talk, you go ahead.
No,
Why?
I'll get that.
Anybody wants to say anything, the floor is wide open, you recognize.
Chipley. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
I thought you were gonna say we right. That's it. I was just quick on the gavel the other day. I was quick, wow, did a little slow.
I'll say this, and nothing formal, but I had a chance to go out to, Blue Springs and look at the new boardwalk out there. And if you hadn't had a chance to go look at it, it's,
Looks good.
really nice.
From the road, I can see where that gate is.
Yeah, well, you can, go up to the springs and then walk up the boardwalk. They've got a place where you can go down to what I call the spring is, and then you can go up top as well, so. Really nice job.
We did that when I was